Okay. Wait, what was I doing?
Oh, right, this explainer? Okay, but hang on. Did I lock the front door? I should probably check.
And what was that email that just popped up? Looked important. You know, I've always wanted to learn guitar.
Wait, no, focus. This explainer, right, ADHD.
Okay, let's take a breath. If that little whirlwind of thoughts felt familiar, then you are absolutely in the right place. That feeling isn't a lack of willpower, and it's not a failure to just try harder. It's neuroscience. And today, we're gonna dive deep into what's actually happening inside the unfiltered ADHD brain.
So, first things first, we've got to talk about the name itself. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It's honestly one of the worst, most misleading names out there because the core issue isn't a deficit of attention at all. The reality is the complete opposite. It's not less attention, it's too much attention on everything all at once with absolutely no filter. So from the outside, yeah, it might look like someone's not paying attention to anything, but on the inside, their brain is trying to pay attention to everything. So, what's going on here?
Well, it really comes down to this specific little region of the brain, right behind your forehead. It's called the orbitofrontal cortex. Now, you can think of this as your brain's CEO, its executive control center. Its main job is to act like a filter, constantly deciding, okay, this thought is important, let's focus on it. And this other thought, nah, we can ignore that.
Here's a great way to think about it. In a neurotypical brain, that orbitofrontal cortex is like a sharp, alert bouncer at a super exclusive nightclub. He's got a list, he's checking IDs, and only the important, relevant thoughts get past the velvet rope. But in the ADHD brain, well, the bouncer's kind of fallen asleep on his stool. Every single thought, every little distraction, every random impulse, they all just crash the party.
And the result is what you see here, a constant, overwhelming flood of thoughts. And every single one of them feels like it has the exact same level of urgency. The thought, I need to finish this report for work, feels just as important as, did I respond to that text? Or, hey, that bird outside is doing a funny thing. Your brain just can't prioritize, so it gets paralyzed trying to do everything at once, and you end up back at, wait, what was I doing again? This is not laziness. This is all about how your brain's filtering system got wired.
So that, of course, leads to the million-dollar question. Why? Why doesn't this filtering system develop the same way for everyone? Well, according to leading researchers like Dr. Gabor Mate, the answer isn't just one thing. It's this powerful interaction between our biology and our earliest life experiences.
It all starts with genetics. You see, you can inherit a genetic predisposition for ADHD. This basically means your brain's wiring, especially in that orbitofrontal cortex, is just naturally more sensitive to developmental disruption. But here's the key. Just having the genes doesn't mean you'll develop ADHD. It just sets the stage. As the famous saying goes, genetics loads the gun.
But it's the environment that pulls the trigger. For those genes to actually express themselves, they need to be activated by a specific kind of environment during a critical period of development.
And that activation window is really early. From the moment we're born to around age 7, that prefrontal cortex is wiring itself up at an absolutely incredible rate. And you know what the single most important factor is in guiding that wiring process? The emotional environment that's provided by our caregivers.
Now, this is really important. When we talk about environmental triggers, we're not always talking about big, capital T trauma. Dr. Mate's work shows it's often much more subtle. Things like chronic stress in the household, maybe from financial worries, or a lack of emotional attunement, where a parent is physically there, but just emotionally distant. For a child who is genetically sensitive, that kind of stressful, inconsistent environment can be enough to disrupt the proper wiring of that super important brain filter.
This gene-environment combo is exactly why ADHD is such a spectrum. I mean, the same basic brain wiring can lead to wildly different outcomes in life, depending entirely on the environment it's in. And there is no better example of this than the most decorated Olympian of all time.
Michael Phelps has ADHD. His childhood teachers famously said he would never be able to focus on anything. And you know what? In a classroom that demanded he sit still for hours and deal with vague, delayed feedback, they were right. But in a swimming pool, his brain found its perfect environment. The pool gave him clear, immediate feedback. Touch the wall first, you win. It gave him a massive physical outlet for all that energy and a supportive, predictable routine. His brain, which was failing in a punishing school environment, absolutely thrived in an accepting, structured athletic one. It's the same brain in a different world with a totally different outcome.
So, since we can't go back in time and change our genetics, managing ADHD isn't about curing or fixing a broken brain. It's about changing the world around it. It's about building supportive scaffolding to help your brain do the things it doesn't do naturally.
A really solid approach rests on 4 pillars. 1, you have biological support, things like medication, which are kind of like glasses for the brain. They just provide chemical assistance to help it focus. 2, behavioral systems, often from therapy like CBT, which help you build external structures like alarms, lists, and routines to do the job of the missing internal filter. 3, and this is a big one, is actively changing your environment. And 4, emotional safety. An ADHD brain that feels constantly judged and criticized is a brain flooded with anxiety, and that anxiety makes the filter work even worse. So unconditional acceptance isn't just a nice idea, it's a powerful neurological intervention.
And that's exactly why the most common responses to ADHD are so incredibly counterproductive. Telling someone to just try harder is like telling a person with poor vision to just see better. It has nothing to do with willpower. And punishment or shame for symptoms, that just piles on the anxiety that makes the executive dysfunction worse in the first place.
So this brings us to the most crucial point of all. We have to stop looking at ADHD as some kind of disorder that needs to be fixed. We need to start seeing it for what it is, a different kind of brain operating system that just requires a different kind of environment to run smoothly.
Think about it. The traits of an ADHD brain, like scanning the environment constantly, having tons of energy, those could have been huge evolutionary advantages for our hunter-gatherer ancestors. They are, however, a massive mismatch for a modern office job that expects you to stare at a spreadsheet for 8 hours straight. But you take that same brain and put it in an environment that values novelty, quick thinking, and creativity, like an ER, a startup, or an art studio, and suddenly it doesn't just cope, it often thrives.
I really want you to let this sink in. Your brain isn't broken, it's different. You're not lazy, you're not stupid, you're not defective. You're running a different operating system in a world that was, for the most part, designed for another one. And that acceptance we talked about, it's not just some fuzzy, feel-good concept, it is a neurological tool. When you, or the people in your life, offer unconditional acceptance, it actually lowers the anxiety that's impairing that orbitofrontal cortex. In other words, acceptance literally helps the ADHD brain function better. You can't change your genetics, but you can always change your environment, and changing your environment changes your brain.
So the key here isn't about fixing a broken brain. It's about understanding your unique brain and then building a life that works with it, not against it. Which leads me to a final question for you. What kind of environment helps your brain thrive? I'd love to see your thoughts, because understanding ourselves and each other is the very first step toward creating a world that truly fits every kind of mind.